Hello and welcome to Code Override. If you are a member of the channel, thank you. If you are not, consider subscribing for more Java content. In this video, we're going to be downloading and installing Intellij Idea, and then we will create our first Java project. Fire up your favorite browser and search for Intellij Idea. Go to the main website, go to the downloads link, and we're gonna download the community edition, and then we're gonna hit save. I'm gonna pause the video and come back later since the size is substantial. Once Intellij is done downloading, double click on the exe file, hit yes to allow changes, and you will get a window that looks like this. Hit next, and then here, I'm gonna make this a 64-bit launcher, and I'm gonna associate this with Java files with the .java extension, and hit next, and it's gonna go ahead and proceed with the installation. I'm gonna go ahead and pause this and come back. Intellij Idea is done installing. We're gonna go ahead and run it, and then hit finish. You're gonna get a window like this to import settings. If you have settings already that you want to import, you can browse to the folder. However, I'm not going to import any settings so that we can do this together. When it loads, you're going to get another windows like this. Because I'm doing tutorials, I prefer the light theme over the dark theme. It just looks cleaner for tutorials. If I'm working on my personal projects, I normally use the dark theme. Hit next, and you're going to get another windows that look just like this. And what we're going to do is create a new project. You can see here that we do have plugins that need updating. So if you want to do that, you can actually just click here, but I'm going to skip this step for now. What we're going to do is create a new project, and we're going to keep this as a Java project. Okay, if you didn't watch the previous video on setting up the Java path or the system path, you need to watch that video, because what it's going to do is it's going to tell Intellij exactly where to find the Java development toolkit. However, if you did not watch that video and you do have one installed on your machine, what you can do is click here and go to add JDK, and then you're going to find your JDK folder. In our last tutorial, we left the JDK folder under our C drive, so you can click on it and then hit OK. Since I already have one, all it's going to do is make a duplicate under my options, SDK options. I don't want that, so I'm going to hit cancel. The next thing we're going to do is hit next. And what you can do is you can actually create a project from a template, but since we are learning from scratch, I am not going to do that. I'm going to hit next, and then you're going to go ahead and create a name for your project. In my case, the project is going to be stored under user, Pasai, in idea projects, and then you give it the name of the project. Let's just call this one Java for now. And we're going to hit finish, and it's going to do its magic. And it's going to bring up a screen that looks just like this. Wait for it to finish indexing, and then everything should be set up. If you are on Windows, sometimes the antivirus software is going to go ahead and mess around with Intellij settings. So it's going to give you a warning telling you that if you want to go ahead and configure it so your program, your IDE runs a lot more smoothly, make sure that you accept that and let it do it automatically. So I'm going to close this, and sometime it should pop up somewhere. If it doesn't pop up, then I guess I'm lucky this time. First, I'm going to talk about packages. There are two types of packages in Java. You have built-in packages, and then you have user-defined packages. Our source code, our Java source code, is going to go within the source folder. And then we want to manage our code or related classes within packages. Packages make sure that our code is maintainable, and also it helps dissolve naming conflicts. So what we're going to do is create our first package. We're going to go to new and then go to package. And then we're going to type in intro.code. So you can think of intro.code as a subfolder within a subfolder under our source folder, and hit enter. And you guys can see here that it's going to be a folder structure that has intro, and then in intro we have a subfolder called code. All right, so it's just a directory for managing code. And then what we need to do is create our first Java class. So remember that Java class ends in the .java extension. So we're going to click class. And the naming convention for a Java class is that all consecutive words need to be capitalized. So for example, if the class was called Hello World, then hello is capitalized and world is capitalized, and then we hit enter. And this is going to go ahead and create a Java class for us. And it's going to tell us that this is going to be in the package called intro.code, all right, which matches the name here, which is intro.code. All right. So remember that a Java class ends in a .java extension. So if we were to go here and then go to Show in Explorer and go to code, you can see here that the source file ends in a .java extension, right? So now that we know that, what we need to do is add in the entry point into any Java application, which is going to be the main method. And I'm going to go ahead and show you guys a shortcut in IntelliJ to pretty much write out the main method for you by typing in public static void main. All right, hit enter. And the public keyword is an access modifier for telling other classes what type of access they have on this class or on any object that is created from this class. In this case, we have a public modifier, meaning that any other object can have access to this class, all right? The class keyword just tells us that this is a class, and then we have the class name. And remember, the class name needs to be capitalized, so each word needs to be capitalized. We have an open and closing brace, which tells us the start and the end of this class. And then we have the public access modifier for a method, right? We have the keyword static, which we're gonna see in later tutorials, and I'll explain this a little bit briefly. But the static keyword means that this method belongs to the class, and they can only exist one type of this method, right? So for example, we can have another main method in this class or anywhere else in our entire Java application. This method is unique because it is the entry point to our application. This is where the JVM starts executing our program from. And if this method does not exist, then we cannot go ahead and launch our application. Then we have a parameter of type string array, and it's called args. So a string array is a container for managing data of the same type or an array. So in this case, string is a data type. The string data type is used storing data as username, addresses, and so forth. So anything that has to do with a combination of characters, including white space. And the name for this is args, all right? So when we create a variable, we need to actually give it a name, and the name is going to be used to access the data. When we get into variables, this is going to be very clear to you guys. The next thing I want to do is actually write something to the console. So what is a console? Normally, if you're on Windows, you can type in CMD and you get the command prompt. So the command prompt is a console. It is a window that we can actually write commands and get output. So for example, if we wanted to see what was in this directory, we can type in dir for directory, and we can see all of the contents here. So this is used for sending in commands and then getting out output, right? So in this case, what we want to do is we want to go ahead and print something to the console or to the terminal. What we can do is use another class, which is built in. It's the system class, and we can use the print line method. And there's a shortcut in IntelliJ. We can use SRT for system out print line and hit enter, and it's going to type in system out print line for you. And then what we want to do is pass in a string. And I said, remember that a string is a combination of characters, including white space. and the order is maintained. So in this case, I am going to type welcome to override. All right. You can make this say anything you want. You can say welcome to Java programming. You can say hello world. You can say whatever you want. And then to go ahead and compile this file, we can go ahead here and just hit this green arrow button, or we can actually go up top where it says run, and then we can hit the run. All right. It's just easier for you to actually just go ahead here and hit the green button. Also, if you're at the top right here, you look to the right here, you can see you can hit Alt, Shift, and F10 to actually run. So it's up to you how you want to run this. There are many ways that you can run this. So what we're going to do is hit run here, and then we're going to run hello world.main, and it's going to go ahead and run. And then we can see that our text has been outputted on the console, and it says welcome to code override. All right, guys, in our next video, what I'm going to do is show you guys how to manually compile Java source files. In the workplace, sometimes you're not given a fancy IDE, an integrated development environment that does all of the compilation for you. So you have to learn to do this manually. When we get into more complex project structures, for example, using management tools such as Maven, then you will want to learn how to actually do all the compilations by hand. Alright guys, this will be it for this tutorial. If you enjoyed the content, please hit the like button. And if you are not a member of my channel yet, please do consider subscribing.